Yeah, the games in there were more interesting though, and better than the last one.
I hated the rhythm one.
Oh yes,
That
actually
was the
that
only
was
one that I hated, though.
yeah. Those ones always seem kind of weak though, or weaker than the rest of them because rhythm it doesn't quite match up for a lot of it.
Yeah, I
It
found like I couldn't. I felt the rhythm was weird. I had
mm,
for the final rhythm game, I actually had to put it down to easy, just because it was infuriating. Because I was like, I'm pressing the things at their time, but it's not working. So I had to go to easy, and
I
that's the
managed to
only
get through it,
time.
but it took me about 20 minutes, I think, just going, oh, fine, okay, just next. And if I miss them, then keep going, keep going, keep going, and it finally ended.
It was just so annoying. And
Mm,
I don't know, like, maybe it was just me, but the graphic images for the rhythm games up until the last one, where it was just like Kibo being like all like boss like and stuff, I found the graphic images kind of looked a bit cheap. Like it was
mm.
just like a static, like they're all static images, but it was just like you go to another room and it's just like this portrait that you kind of press buttons around. And I thought it looked a bit cheap, considering like the other ones looked really cool, like in the past games, where it's just like has the stuff around the portrait, and I don't know. I thought it looked cheap.
Uh, well, either way, I quite like Debate Scrum. I think that was my favorite game.
That was a
So,
standout. I know, like story wise, they couldn't do that many of them, but it was so fun.
mm. This was the first game. Well, it's actually it had a lot more kinetic to just start using big words. Um, but the one of the minor annoyances I had with the non-stop debate, the standard one,
Mm.
was that everything was too fast for me to do things, even with the concentrate thing.
Yeah.
The text was just either swirling around too much or unhinging itself. Please stop moving. I just want to shoot this statement.
Yeah.
Okay, no, fine.
I even found it hard to like shoot at the. And maybe it's just because I played this game on console and it's hard to do with a controller. But like the words that you. The red words that go around and like you shoot for extra points or extra
Hmm.
time. I found even those hard to shoot.
Yeah, I was playing on with a controller because uh, I have a PC, but who uses mouse and keyboard? Ha ha ha! I should probably. Maybe that
I.
sounds like a good idea now I think about it.
But like with the PC, and maybe they fixed this now, but when I was trying to do, I started with on PC because I was streaming it at first, and then I was just like, this is a really awful game to stream because there's so much talking. But like the they'd only show controls for controller. They'd be
Hmm.
like press the A button on the controller and it showed like the green A button. And I was just like, but like I'm not using a
Keyboard.
controller. I don't know, maybe they fixed that by now, but it was really annoying.
Mm. Uh, the other games were the Mass Panic Debate, which was weird.
I kinda liked it, but I was just like,
There
I
was also Psych Taxi.
that was alright.
It was Crazy Taxi again,
Yeah. I find it
which
funny
was.
that the game was like picking up hookers.
Mm, uh, have you seen a lot of what this game is? It
Yeah.
has murder.
I know, but I was just like,
Slept.
Shuichi's picking up hookers. Okay.
He has to fill the void left by Kaede.
It's true. It's true. I'm surprised they never gave him a love interest. Past Kaede.
Well, the other ones, the other available people, some of them got murdered, some
Yeah.
of them killed them. The only ones really that it could have been were Tsumugi, who let's just say no for now. You also
Yeah.
uh, you also have Maki, who wanted to go for Kaito in the end, I think.
I thought her
Yeah.
and Shuichi were gonna have a thing, but then
I
she went for
know.
Kaito.
I was disappointed.
Yeah.
And the only other one I think would have been Himiko, who is just trying hard um not to collapse to depression.
Yeah. I mean,
Unless you wanted him to end up with Miyu.
no.
She was in it for a while.
The scene
No.
between Miyu and Kibo, the one where she's fixing him, quote unquote. I
Fixing,
think we
yes.
all know the one where like she has her boobs pressed up against him in the shop. I'm all for characters like being sexual and strong women and such, but my first reaction to that was like, oh dear God, get off Kibo, you awful person. He's
Well, you
too
say
young.
that she's you say strong, but you do see what happens when she gets even remotely insulted.
Yeah, I mean, she's strong in the sense that she's just who she is, and yeah.
She's just who she is. She just wants to be someone who invents things and occasionally tries to dom on people very unsuccessfully.
Or she really wants to be a dom, but she's really a sub.
Basically.
Yeah.
Now, who else? The only other one would have been Himiko, and yeah.
Yeah. Himiko is just like...
Unless you wanted to ship Shuichi with Kibo.
And I'm sure some people do.
Uh,
The dates with some of the guys were interesting, because I looked up some of the love hotel scenes, because eventually I was just like, I just want to see them all, and I don't feel like playing this anymore. Kibo's was just like, hey, we're gonna get married, okay?
Okay.
And I was just like, aw, that's so sweet and pure.
Gonna get married. I don't understand these human emotions, but I'm going to try. Just try to be with me until then.
And then Shuichi's like, okay, Kibo. It was so funny.
So, do we want to start delving into the nasty part?
Yes, the ending.
The ending.
So
Bigger spoilers.
yeah, biggest spoilers. Ending. If you're just like going to like stay until we talked about the ending, leave now. So basically, Tsumugi, the ultimate cosplayer, ended up being the mastermind.
And she reveals. No, does she reveal? No, she doesn't actually reveal.
Like, Kibo ended up being like an audience surrogate, and it was like this reality show, and everything was fake, and everyone had like implanted personalities, and they were
Basically, it
different
was
people.
all a game.
Meta.
And also, the reason we find out that Tsumugi is the new Junko, because there is always a Junko, is that Kaede didn't murder Ranter.
Yeah, apparently there was this secret passageway that led to like the room that was locked off in that case. and she just went out and killed Rentaro because the ball missed him actually, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And then murder.
and then murder,
Yeah.
and
Always ends
then
with murder anyway.
and then she also revealed that all the other Danganronpa characters were also fake, like it was
Yeah.
all fiction.
So this is actually Danganronpa 63 or 50. Is it 53 or 6? No, it's 53.
Is V 5 or 6?
I was thinking it was 60 for different reasons.
Oh, okay.
But it is V for 5 and 3. So Danganronpa, the TV show, 56th edition. Which, admittedly, I applauded the how that turned out because I didn't see it coming. I can certainly say that.
Yeah. I have multiple feelings. I've looked up like other like forums and stuff about the ending because I was so like not sure that I wanted to kind of get other people's opinions to see exactly how like the feel of it. It ranged from people saying it was brilliant to people saying it was awful because it like denounced their favorite characters from past games.
So basically, what the ending is that they say this is all just a game. You are doomed to say hope or to give into to go for hope and overcome Monokuma, or despair and all die, and no one really cares which way either way it is. And they eventually decide not to vote at all, which no one wants, and it all seems to finish somehow.
Yeah, and it just ends up with Kibo like exploding everything.
Yeah, including himself.
Yeah. And
There are
then,
only 3 survivors from this game.
yeah. Shuichi, Maki, and Himiko.
Mhm. Which I'm glad about. Several. Those were. Those were the 2 characters that I went to the end of in terms of getting the discussions or getting the presents, and pleasantly surprising.
I thought someone was gonna kill Maki because after she was found out she was the ultimate assassin because they were scared of her.
Mhm.
But I guess people couldn't sneak up on her because she's an assassin, so.
Yeah, be sort of a bit hesitant to do so.
Yeah.
Who am I going to pick on? Am I going to pick on the ultimate artist who looks like she'd fall over if you just breathed lightly to her, or the one who looks like she'd kill you from halfway across a continent?
Yeah.
Let's think about that.
Mm.
So when was it that you started? Did you get up to a point in the trial where you just rolled your eyes and said, "Okay, I see where this is going"?
I think the part that really got to me was when they wouldn't stop talking about how everything was fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Miss Samugi just went on this huge rant about how everything was fiction. And I was just like, but like, how? First of all, they're setting up this world where like people apply to be on this show, know that they're going to die. And they're also setting up a world where the parents of said children are okay with sending their kids off to die, pretty much. Or do they not realize it's all, like, it's all real? Or is it actually fake and everyone's still alive? Probably not. And then there's the point where, like, they all go outside and, like, everything is toxic and everything. How did they set up that? Like, they were like, oh, we just have a really good set design. I'm just like, but that makes no sense.
It's a virtual world.
But
so the ending of the game is where the sky cracks open and you can see the nice 80s looking cyber lines on the outside.
yeah.
So I believe is a virtual reality show where contestants can apply to have to come on the show and have their consciousness be uploaded, but the show makers sort of interfere. Let's just give you some new memories. You're Mr. Nobody, Mr. Shuichi, or whatever your name is. It's not even actually Shuichi, it's someone else entirely.
Yeah.
You are now Shuichi Saihara, and you're an ultimate. Not very good at his job. Cool. Great.
But like, they didn't know they'd be other people, cause like, Shuichi had said like, oh, I think I'd be a really good, or someone said, it was either him or Kaede, like, I would be a really good personality for the show because A, B, and C, and some of them were saying that. So
yeah,
like,
well, anyone's going to say that. It's kind of like a job interview in a way, I guess, that you say what you think you would be able to do, and they just say, yeah, you'll never use any of that, but cool, we'll take you anyway.
but like, why would that be a part of the interview? Because like,
I'm not even certain if it was a part of the interview, more of a, tell us a bit about yourself.
yeah.
It might not have been a, this game, but why should we choose you over someone else? Because I'm really passionate about this show and I love it, and if you pick me, I'd be the best murderer ever. I should not be speaking this loud in a hotel.
Like,
Oh dear.
So, another thing that kind of weirded me out. Oh gosh, what was I gonna say? Totally
The thing
lost
that
my-
weirded me out while you try and think that, I think, unless you want to be a moment of silence,
No, you can go.
was the part where it was around that. This is all a game. This is all for people who like watching people murder others. Are you talking to me or to people inside the game? And it got to a point where I started thinking, are you just fan base that they are terrible people?
Yeah,
You're not necessarily wrong, Spike Chunsoft, but come on, really?
it felt very. Like, it didn't. Yeah, I felt that too. Like, I was just like, are you talking about the fan base? Are you talking about yourselves? Like, I felt it was a bit mixed on who it was going after. At the end, I couldn't help but be like, they're kind of insulting me.
I mean, I'm okay with being insulted like this because I do like the murders, but it's still a bit on the nose.
Like, come on. Like, I'm not the one making this game, guys. Like, you made it and sold it. Like, you should turn that on you.
But I think the consensus I had with another friend was that it is to reference of the world. The world building of Danganronpa has gotten twisted, basically. It used to be that Danganronpa 1 and 2 world and everything was mostly okay, and Danganronpa, another episode, was in the same world as that. And then V3 came along and said, nah, that was all fiction. And it's inside this. This is the actual world now, game, and those three things were actually inside the game, inside this game, and
Yeah, I heard someone say that it was like an alternate universe, like this game took place in, but I haven't found anything confirming that. Just people saying it on forums.
Yeah, the thing is about this is, where do you go from here?
I don't know
Where
if
do you-
you can really go from here unless like there's like multiple like how Big Brother has Big Brother Europe or Big Brother Australia. Like maybe there's different like sections of the show or something.
The thing is, this was mostly shock and awe. This was mostly you're not expecting this. You weren't expecting this at all. But either as well as it did or as poorly as it did, it's not up to me to say, I guess. But it's why it got such a reaction, because absolutely no one was expecting it, really, I think.
I feel like I was more annoyed by like, yeah, it was a twist, but it was a twist because they never gave anything to indicate that this could actually happen. And I feel
They
like
had an odd scene in the middle of the game, which was where that one school kid was looking at his phone saying, "I have my friends to keep me company," which I just thought was
yeah,
creepy.
but when was that part of the game?
I
Hmm,
think it was after the virtual reality murder.
yeah.
Might have been just before it. Um, but
But but other than that, there wasn't really like that because that it didn't make it clear to me that it was even possible. The thing is, with the first game, it was set up that it had to be someone in the school that was doing it. It couldn't be really a separate person controlling Monokuma.
mhm,
So that led it to like you suspecting everyone else.
mhm.
And I don't know. I just felt it was kind of cheap because it just brought something. They brought something in randomly that they didn't build up to at all. It felt like kind of a false twist
Mhm.
where they were just like,
Well,
I don't know.
to an extent, I sympathise in. I don't think there's. If you set out saying this is how my story is going to go, what twists, what evidence would you put in to say that this is going to happen, giving the whole game away?
Yeah, I don't know how, but like it's like with Kaede's thing. Um, there is nothing indicating that it could have she could have not killed Rantaro. There was no
Well, there's the amount of trust you have in that Kaede could never kill someone, even if she actively tries to. Then nah. It's physically impossible for her to kill someone.
uh,
Depends how far your trust in that goes.
I don't know how they would have like wrote it so it made more sense, but I just felt like it came out of nowhere and it just it didn't feel right to me. I'm still having mixed feelings about it and I played it like last year.
Uh, so okay. Um, what else was really grating about it then? The there was a whole segment at the end of the game where they just hinged on that as well. It's sort of so the final trial is made up into about two or three. I think it's three or four. The first part is figuring out who the murderer of Kaede was,
Mm.
where the Monokids come back and then are killed off immediately.
Mm-hmm.
The second part is where you have to figure out what on earth is going on, I think. The third part is where Kibo is audienced,
Mm-hmm.
for want of a better term, and the fourth part is the old Danganronpa good feeling thing of going through everyone and saying, I will have hope by not doing anything.
Yeah. Well, not really.
Which,
I will have hope. I will have truth. Truth is the
yes,
new thing. Because hope
yes.
is out of fashion.
Hope is overrated.
I did like the thing where they were like manipulated the hope almost like perversely.
Hmm.
Like being like, oh yeah, hope is great, but hope makes you stay here.
Yeah. Something I quite liked is that uh, it twisted the idea of this is the good ending,
Mm.
where you kill Monokuma, but killing Monokuma doesn't actually get you anywhere.
Mm.
So that was pleasant, and you get the ultimate survivor for
Rantaro. I feel
yes. No, the ultimate survivor is if you
well, he
choose.
was the ultimate survivor.
He was, yes.
Yeah. I
Uh,
I felt like he should have had a bigger part.
well,
Like
it
he had a
seems
pretty
very
big
dank.
like he, they had him be like this big thing where it's just like, oh, like with the video where like, here's everything you gotta know, and I'm just like, hey, he's like a big plot twist, but like,
Now he's dead.
yeah, like that doesn't
Which
really do anything for us now.
I appreciate in the way that it made me laugh when I thought that yeah, this is the greatest story. This is the person who would have been most, and they were killed off immediately.
Yeah.
Cool. Which is funnily enough another callback to the first game. Now I think about it, ish, where Junker was killed off literally immediately.
Yeah, but that's because she was mouthing off.
Yeah, and it wasn't even Junko, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look her up. Poor sweet thing.
Yes. Well, we don't even know. Maybe she was a terrible person. We never actually found out. She died.
Is it bad that with Rantaro's name, I was thinking of Hamtaro? Rantaro, if we get together, it's such bad.
Well, I mean, he turned into Hamtaro, if you're not picky about what ham is.
Aww.
I quite liked Tsurugi, actually, near the end.
I didn't.
Well, like, is strong. But I liked how it was sort of an excuse to... Actually, no, I didn't like it. Like, it felt very... it felt like they were very up their arse about it in a way. Sort of now here's all your favourite characters coming back. Do you have enough proof that this is just a game yet? Here's everyone.
Well,
and
like,
the other people. And more people.
The whole, like, thing with Tsurugi, with, like, her cosplaying, and she can't cosplay anyone real because Cosbox. But, like, why were they taking her for her word? She lied about just about everything.
Yeah, and
about
also...
being, like, why wasn't be like, well, yeah, you say you can only do fictional people, but, like, you lied about a bunch of stuff, so you... And apparently her Cosbox is just, like, her turning red. Like, I didn't... Like, there wasn't anything to indicate that it was actually something serious. I don't know.
Yeah. There were hints around the end of it that Hope's Peak did exist outside of the game as well. Outside of Danganronpa. Inside the Danganronpa.
Yeah, in Kokichi's room, right?
I think it was Kokichi's room. I think it might have been after the ending, where they were sort of saying something along the lines of, I remember, or something like that. I don't know. It's been a month since I've played it. I've only just formulated some of the thoughts I had about it. So, yeah.
I think, like, what could be was, like, Hope's Peak was a real thing, but it probably closed down, and they based the show around, like, the whole Hope's Peak thing.
Maybe.
That's what I'm guessing.
Sounds like it could be plausible, but this is just spitballing to an extent. So the other characters that survived until the end was Kibo. What did you think of Kibo? What did you think of the audience participation part of it, actually?
I thought it was pretty, like, interesting. I wondered why no one, like, ran up to Kibo and just, like, pulled off, like, his hair thing that was the audience was controlling him by. I feel like that would have been the first thing I would have done. Even if I would have got even if I would have got my ass kicked, at least try it.
One of the strongest arguments for this game, this is post me having played it, for this game not taking the mick out of its fan base, is that you don't play as Kibo.
Yeah.
Because that would actually be on the nose. Its participation character. you are literally telling your character what to do as the audience,
Um,
which
I loved when the audience was they showed that there was an audience and then people were talking in like all the comments from people and like one guy was just like, man, Shuichi's so lame, we should have kept Kaede. I'm just like, wow. I think someone actually said that on the internet. That's great.
mm, there were couple of them like ships for life or whatever it was.
Yeah.
A couple of them were just shipping in the background. There was also a couple of them around. Um, there was the big thing about hope versus despair, and the audience itself was split, and it's saying, "Boo! Don't do that's boring. Just choose something or whatever."
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was fun. It was one of the most trippy trials, I think.
I think Danganronpa 2 was a bit trippier.
Funhouse. Funhouse was trippiest. Was Funhouse trippiest? No,
Just
the
like
ending was
the
actually
ending.
full on. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
I remember. It's all coming back. Giant Junko and the opened.
One thing I want to talk about is Kaede and like how she apparently didn't murder anyone, and I actually was a bit annoyed by that.
Hmm.
Like, it felt like they had this best waifu character and they wanted to absolve her of any crimes and any flaws. And I was just like, it's okay that she, like, killed someone. Like, it's not, but, like, I feel like they ruined the first chapter
Do not kill people.
by. Yeah. A disclaimer, do not kill people. We do not endorse that. They basically absolved her of any crime. They made what she tried to do pointless. And I don't know. I just felt maybe that was the point, but it felt like they just kind of ruined her whole point. Like they ruined the point of her. Now it just could have been any character that did that.
Her point in the plot was basically to be. All existence in the story was meant to be the first hope of the series, I guess, of the game, which is let's all get out of here together as friends.
Yeah.
Which she said before promptly dying. Screw
know.
her, I guess. But her murder was actually the murder she attempted was one of the most likely to fail. Honestly, you think about it, that she rolls a shot put down a chute, which is probably going to be I don't know how long it is, but between then and when it reaches the end, you have to hope that the other person is standing right below the end of it to get bonked on the head with the shot put.
Yeah.
Which is likely to fail, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like even at the time I was just like, wow, that's very everything has to line up so perfectly. I was surprised that it even worked. But like at the same time I was just like this just negates everything that she was trying to do. This just undermines her. I don't know. It felt really bad, and it felt like they were just trying to absolve one of their waifu characters of any crimes.
I
don't know. I felt
it's
about it.
has it been done before? Has the series done it before where this is an old trial that we had that was given the wrong verdict?
I don't think so. I mean, unless
No,
like
there has been actually. At first game,
yeah, with
when
Makoto.
Mukuro, yes,
Yeah,
where it gets pinned on.
Makoto.
Yes,
And then
but mhm.
but at
that
that
made sense.
yeah. I don't know. Like I said, it was I don't know. I felt like with the first game, there was this thing where like the person that was controlling the game was so stringent on everyone following the rules that when you were committed to like when Makoto was accused and then actually found guilty, you realize something wasn't right and that something was going on that wasn't supposed to happen. And I felt like that was like less what's the word? Less contrived, I guess, because it was just like, oh, this whole time this mastermind was following the rules to a T, and now all of a sudden he's not. Like there's something going on that's not right. That's different. And
Yeah, this
and
does bring in. Yeah.
and with the third game, I felt like, so why should we trust anything the mastermind has said at all? Because this whole game has just been a farce. Like,
In fairness, though, it's kind of a moot point because you find this out at the end of the game when you don't trust the mastermind anymore at all.
yeah, I
When
suppose.
you're fighting against the mastermind. But I see your point because it gets to that idea where has the mastermind been telling the truth at all? Did any of these people actually murder anyone? Yes, they admitted it themselves. But if the mastermind has lied once, then the arbiter, the rules master of the game is not impartial, and it stops having an element of fun to it, I guess. I'm the sort of person who likes it when murders are just nice and impartial, and everyone has a fair shot.
Once again, we do not endorse murder.
But when you get to the parts, when you get to the rules master of the game giving the participants because bonuses, it's less valid. Because one other thing about the first game is that you can argue that Monokuma choosing Makoto in the first game, they're saying, yeah, it's fine, I don't care who gets killed at this point, just kill someone, is arguably because of Monokuma's, not because of anywhere else, because Junko isn't even in part of that game anymore. Junko was killed immediately. It's only later revealed that she's actually alive.
Yeah.
So, say that at that point he's not breaking any rule. He's breaking less rules because the person who actually killed the people isn't in the game yet anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It just felt the thing I liked about the Danganronpa games is you have this psychopath, but at the same time he's stringent about rules that to the point where if you break them, you are dead. This isn't a joke. You are in this situation and you have to follow his rules or you won't be getting out alive. And then with V3 and then with V3 it felt a bit more chaotic. Like, I guess that's the point because it's a TV show and they have to go by audience, like what makes the audience most happy, but at the same time it was less fun. I didn't like it.
Well, that's the thing, because Monokuma is rules in a way. The other thing about Monokuma, he wants it to be fun. That's why he gives the motives. He wants murders to happen.
Yeah.
There's a phrase I can't remember. I think I saw it in Rock Paper Shotgun. That if you give a man 100 years, he will do most anything. But if you want something to happen quickly, you need to give him a motive, basically.
Yeah.
So if you gave someone 100 years, they could probably murder someone, just left to their own devices. But if you want it to definitely happen, give them a motive. And the first motive, Monica, if no one dies in 2 hours, I am going to kill all of you.
Mm.
Have fun. And at the end of that, no one has killed anyone. Game to end.
Yeah.
So someone needs to die, and it's more fun for the for Monaco or the showrunners if that person is not the actual Junko of the game. It is that argument of this is fun for the TV series, and this is that it's fun for Monokuma.
Well, like,
The-
that's another reason that I'm a bit on the it being a virtual reality thing. Because, like, when they. In the first chapter where they get the ultimatum, like, kill someone in 2 hours or everyone dies via explosion. If they were in a virtual reality and they just exploded, wouldn't you just try again? If everyone was still...
Presumably it's the start of a new season, and you don't want the first season to end at the first episode, and sort of say, okay, rebooting season on episode 2 is now starting again.
But I don't know. I would just like be like, well, that sucked. Well, let's just try again. I don't know.
I don't know, if you imagine that this is a huge spectacle, it's something like the turn of summer, tune in every second of the day on a pay-per view thing, that's just tune in any time of the day to watch these people and wait until the murders happen. If you then say that, okay, we've been running this for a day now, and it's already over, we're starting a new season.
But not just like starting a new season, but just like they have these characters that they can, these people who signed up, and they can just like re-upload them, take away their memories, and just like start again. Like they redo the episode.
We are speculating on a sci-fi thing we know nothing about, besides that they are we think it's virtual reality, maybe. We don't know how virtual reality actually works in it. It could be that their consciousness were uploaded, but it was once they are through it, then, or once you die in it, then those consciousness are removed. So it's an actual death as well. I don't know. Possibly not.
Like, but my point is, if it's virtual reality, and Tsumugi was trying to prevent, like, the show stopping by killing Rantaro herself and making it look like Kaede did it, why, if it's virtual reality and everyone's still alive and they can just try again, why would she do that? If she didn't think she just had this one chance.
Here's another suggestion then, and this is me actually spitballing, is that the reason why they need constant applicants and they don't have the same over and over again is because you can't rewrite memories that often. If you do it, say 3 times, then the brain stops you're constantly rebooting it with new memories, and that just doesn't play nice. Which has already happened once in the game. Early on in the game, you wake up in a Hope's Peak uniform, and then later down the line, you're given your actual uniform, which your memory is wiped at that point, and it's a complete restart. So, to an extent, that does happen in the game. You do get some points where they just say, "Okay, restarting you. So let's just go."
Yeah. I just feel like I wasn't I guess I get that it's Danganronpa and they don't really tell you a lot, but like I felt like there was so much set up. They couldn't just like leave it. Like in the first two games, all they pretty much had to reveal is, oh, if you go up there, you're not gonna be happy because everything's just fucking destroyed. And you had to decide whether you wanted to stay in the school or not. In the second game, you're like, well, this is actually virtual reality. Oh my god. And by the way, you guys are all killers, so have fun being accepted by society. And
Yay!
yay! And yeah. So
Yeah, I think that Danganronpa 3 is a good story, less so a good game, because sense to say that your audience is not going to be happy when you restart the series one episode in. It doesn't make gameplay sense to then say that in order to do that, we're just going, and it actually makes more narrative fun for the audience than to see that Sumugi killed Rantaro and just kill Kaede instead out of mistake. Because as you see in the game, everyone loves despair, and nothing could be quite as despairing as watching a class kill off their friend because of murder she never committed.
yeah.
Fun. And arguably, Sumugi does get away with murder, so she is technically the black end at that point and does win the game.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of they have so much to fill in. If they are going to continue down this route where like the reality TV route, I'm not sure how they're going to proceed from here. Feels like there's a lot of plot holes and a lot of things they have to explain. Like,
would you buy the game?
probably, because I just like Danganronpa. And there's unfortunately not a whole lot of games where like it's like a mix of Phoenix Wright and Saw. Like, that's the thing. It's such a niche game that if you love it, there's nowhere else to go from it.
Yeah, it's funny that not many games let you murder people. Huh. Actually, no, a
Imagine
lot of
that.
games do. Ignored me that.
Yeah, that's like every video game ever.
Whoops. But not a lot of them. Okay, fine. Okay, I'm just going to be quiet now.
That's like the whole thing of video games.